Hey everyone, this is Mike Del Prete. You're listening to Context. My guest today is Pritesh Damani. Hey Pritesh.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming into Boulder. Really appreciate it. So, Pritesh will be speaking at my class tomorrow, which is pretty amazing. So, you are the Chief Technology Officer at Real Brokerage.
Yep.
How long have you been doing that?
I think it's close to 2.5 years,
Two and
maybe
a
a
half
little
years.
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for anybody who hasn't heard, living under a rock, is not reading any of my research, what's Real?
Well, really, Real is a cloud brokerage, right? In a nutshell. But it's a technology cloud brokerage. So we spend a lot of time and energy trying to make agent life easy with technology.
Okay. Great. And from, the research that I've done and been publishing, I've started including real in my analyses because you can't really ignore it anymore in terms of the key metrics that I look at, agent count, transaction volume. It's really exploding on the scene, and the year over year growth rates are really high because it's coming off a relatively small base, but it's definitely picking up steam and growing quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely something to be said about critical mass. And I think we are hitting that escape velocity where our model enables growth and our technology enables a sustainable growth.
Okay. And, in terms of those metrics, I mean, you guys recently passed 10,000 agents, if I'm not wrong, probably
Yeah, we're
11,000,
12,000 now.
12,000 agents. So it's picking up. That's
Yeah.
a pretty good clip. Any numbers off the top of your head in terms of just transaction volumes or anything like that?
Went from 1,500 agents in 2020 to 700% growth to 12,000 now, from 16 million to 500 million in the last 12 months.
And that's sales volume or sales volume.
No, they're like gross revenue.
Gross revenue.
Yeah. So nearly 30x increase, right? So,
Yeah.
and we're closing, serious amounts of transactions on a daily basis.
What's driving the growth?
Culture,
Culture?
culture is definitely one. Technology is is the necessary evil of this industry,
Hmm.
in our opinion, right? Like people will come for the culture, come for the model, stay for the technology. That's how we think about it,
Yeah.
right? We go to agents and like we've got technology, like it's convenient for you to do stuff on your phone, but you wouldn't join a brokerage for that,
Yeah.
right? You would join the brokerage for the model, financial incentives, right? You would join the brokerage for culture, like the kind of people, the camaraderie among the agents. They come in and then they realize, oh my God, there's all this other stuff. So, Tamir, who's the CEO, and I joke about it all the time, is like they'll come for all these other things, but they'll stay for the technology because they'll get hooked on it. And we just got started, like 2.5 years. Everything we've done is 2.5 years. Everything.
Staying for the technology, does that mean it's too hard for someone to leave once they're plugged into everything?
Well, they get used to this convenience, the automation, not having to drive to a local office to generate a document or to get your latest numbers or like I mean I've heard stories where people have to go to their brokerage offices to know if they've capped or not
Hmm.
or what their current cap status is. Like and you get everything with us, you get everything, your whole business in the palm of your hands,
Yeah.
right? So there's literally nothing that they can ask us that the app doesn't tell them already. Literally nothing.
So if Reels agents are staying for the technology, what do they love? What else do they love about the technology?
I mean, to put things in perspective, like let's rewind. Like 2021, January, we had nothing.
What
Nothing.
what do you mean nothing?
What I mean by nothing is like we had like the model, which was exciting agents, and agents were joining with the early opportunity because they had seen that model work somewhere else, right?
Hmm.
So we had the model, but we had no technology. Like Realty Crunch, which was my company, got acquired by Real, and then it was me and a bunch of people who came with the company. And we got on the other side and we realized like, oh my God, this is exploding. But if we know where it's going to go and if we truly believe in it, we need to build for it today. So we went into like this 6 to 8 month focused hiatus where nobody was like allowed to talk to me. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like it was like complete focus mode. Like we took notes and we said, leave us alone for 8 months. Figured out how to, manage the business without us, manually to close the transactions, but we'll come back and we'll be good.
Yeah.
So if you take that starting point, and now 2.5 years later, we have automation in our business, we have convenience for agents, we have our own signature product, we launched our AI product, and that's in 2.5 years. Another 2.5 years is compound interest.
Hmm.
All right. So I think in a month you'll see like a product will launch. It's going to change the industry.
Hmm.
It's going to change the way people think about the industry.
Okay. Wow. What a tease.
I know it's going to be incredible. I'm
So,
super excited.
so when no one was talking for you for 8 months, what were you doing?
Well, we got notes. I spent a lot of time understanding the business, and we knew that we had to automate significant portions of the business, if not all of it. And if you talk to any traditional brokerage person, an executive or a person who's worked in a traditional brokerage, they'll tell you that it's not possible, right? So our approach was we can't talk to them because it's just like the incentives are not in line. They come with like their Excel sheets and their ways of doing business, and they tell you how you're not going to make it. But we knew if we don't make it, then our business doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I spent like in a month or so understanding the workflows, understanding the different documents that need to come out, the tax calculations that need to happen. And, it's like the longest running transaction when it comes to like a software model. Like typically, like you go to a bank, you withdraw money, boom, microseconds, it's settled. This is like a transaction, like 90 days. Falls apart, comes back, falls apart, comes back, numbers change. The weirdest, longest running transactions with every possible thing that can go wrong almost always goes wrong in every deal. It's crazy, right? So we spend a lot of time thinking about like how can we automate it. So if you were an agent with Real today, you come in and you put in your transaction, it's like a Shopify-like experience. Extremely modern. You start typing in your address, it pulls the information from Google or wherever, like pre-fills information. We ask you like 10 questions. And one of the questions would be like, how much is your commission? 3%. Or do you have any partners? Yes, you do. We'll add some partners in there. Okay, how are you splitting it? 50-50. We do all the math. We'll do the tax calculations. We'll do withholdings, everything, anything we have to do, including our own math. How much does Real take? How much, if you're getting any rebates, or there's so many things that agents do. And we'll ask them, okay, does the math look good? So that's his action number one, right? Action number one is, does the math look good? You click on it, you say, yes, it looks good. We'll generate the commission document. That's action number two. Does the commission document look good? They say, yes, it goes to the title company.
So when you sat down to start automating the transaction, there's a lot there. How did you pick where to start?
Well, so we used to use SkySlope, which is like one of the transaction management platforms. So we knew that so SkySlope, it doesn't do math for you. It's like compliance, like upload documents, download documents, checklist. So we knew we didn't need to touch that immediately, right? But we needed to automate our side first in order to scale. So we started thinking about, what does commission calculation look like? And what do we have to do? What kind of documents need to be generated? What do we have to do? So that was trivial. So the beginning was easy. But then when you start peeling the onion, you start realizing, in some provinces, states and provinces, like in Canada, you have to withhold taxes. In some, you have to pay. In some cases, it comes from gross. In some cases, it comes from net commission. In some cases, we remit taxes to the government. In some cases, they remit taxes to the government. And that's where it gets really hairy. And then combine that with team dynamics. So oftentimes teams will join Real. And when they join Real, they're splitting their commissions with their team leaders and stuff like that. And then combine that with our model. So with our model, you're doing 85-15 and there's a cap. But if you're a team member, the cap is not 12K, it's 6K or 4K, depending on your team. So what do? And then obviously there are like rewards that we give out to agents, like when they hit elite, which is like criteria, which is a super agent in our company. We give them awards and shares and additional benefits, tracking all of that.
The technology you're describing doesn't strike me as something you would put in a press release and put out there and attract agents, right? It's not some sort of new agent-facing tool that's shiny and buzzworthy and filled with hype. It sounds like pretty, with all due respect, boring back-end business operation.
Yeah, it's super boring. I agree. Super boring. Right? I mean, this is the hard part. Like, oftentimes the agents will come to Sharon, our president, and he's like, what is Real technology? It's like, you guys don't have any technology. And then he whips out the app and says, like, everything that you used to do in your traditional office, you can do it in here, in this app. It's just that it's conducting business. It's not a CRM. Right? We decided not to build CRMs, right? At some point, and we can talk about that. But like, it's an app that does your boring business. Like, agents, exciting part of the agent business is to show homes, talk to their buyers and sellers, and get them excited and have those relationships. The boring part about their business is the paperwork and the math. even they're not excited about using this technology. Right? Think about it for a second. Like it's a chore they have to do.
So how do you know it's working? Just before we hit record, we were talking about some examples. I mean, what can you share? How do you know that this boring technology is having an impact on the agents or the brokerage?
Well, it's two phases. So one is, our model and our operating margins are super thin. So in order for this to work, we have to be able to process a large amount of transactions on a daily basis with no overhead headcounts, right? Like we can't throw people at it. We can't throw more people at it. I mean, we will, but as the volume scales, right? So today we close like anywhere from between 400 to 600 transactions a day with like nearly the same headcount we had in 2021, in January 2021.
And how many were they doing a day back then?
Back then, oh my God, this is like a funny joke. Back in 2021, there are a few people in our company who are still there, and they will vouch for this, but there used to be a contest. If we could close 100 transactions a week, there were bonuses for people, the whole team, right? And today we close like 500 in a day without blinking an eye.
Wow. So going from 100, the stretch goal is 100 transactions a week to 500 a day.
Yeah, but that's not a stretch goal. That's just like, it just happens.
That's just what happens with the same headcount?
With nearly the same headcount. I'm not being very specific because I don't remember the headcounts, but we know like it's nearly the same.
Yeah, okay. If you did know the headcount, would everybody listening be like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a small, nimble team," or is it a lot? Is it like 100 people doing this? Or
No, our whole company is 150 people.
Okay, so this is a small team of like
this is like
10 people?
10 or so, approximately 10 or so.
All right.
But again, like the technology portion of the company is a significant chunk of the company, right, in terms of headcounts. But at the same time, like it's not trivial to be on the other side. To be very clear, like I'm not trivializing the closing transaction job. Technology is an enabler, right? Not the final solution. So there's always human checks and balances that are in place. So we make sure the compliances are in place and stuff like that. But it's basically like just steroids for our operation, right? And remember, like in 2021, when we were struggling to close these 100 transactions, we were in few states, like I think maybe 10 or 15 or something. Now we're in nearly all of the United States. I think we're like minus 1 or 2 states, and like in provinces in Canada. And Canadian transactions are 3 times more complicated than the United States because in Canada, we are also the title company. So the brokerage holds money.
So building on that, did you bring a personal philosophy around technology development to the business?
Oh yeah, I mean we can. This is one of the slides on my deck tomorrow for your class. Is the culture of the technology team. If you follow football, it's along the lines of New England Patriots. And I know a lot of people hate them, but they hate them for a reason because they win a lot, right? And it's do your job mentality. What does that mean? In our team, the head of design can tell the head of product, like, hey, you're not needed in this meeting. Go do something better with your time. And it's not an insulting thing.
Yeah.
It's expected. It's expected that you have no recurring meetings on your calendar. The only recurring meeting on your calendar is the stand-up. And that is for me too. Like I only have stand-ups with the executive teams or stand-ups with my team. No recurring meetings. No meetings can be more than 20 minutes or 35 minutes. Those are the 2 time slots. I know it's weird, but they're designed for optimal work efficiency, according to me. You get those 10-minute time slots. So if you book a 20-minute, most people will not steal that 10 minutes in the middle. So you get to think in the middle.
Yeah.
If you get a 35-minute, you get 25 minutes to think because most people are trying to like do the round the hour kind of thing, right? But we finally got to a point where, we have a large amount of people in this technology department, but everybody's running and there's incredible trust among each other. There's incredible trust to deliver. They come to work with an attitude to build. Because if you were in real estate today, there are very few companies that are building incredible stuff. Right? And they show up every day and they're actually building, right? Even our engineering is like set up to do what's called continuous deployments. We release to production like 5 times a day.
Wow.
Like it's just automated. So it's not like someone is looking.
There is very little new product or new technology getting released. And it seems like every announcement, it's like, oh, I saw that, Keller Williams released that 2 years ago, or Remax bought a company that did that a year ago.
Yeah.
So along those lines, why are you not building a CRM?
I know this is like a debatable topic and you can probably spend hours just talking about it. But the value of the brokerage, what's the number one job of a brokerage? Close transactions in a compliant way. That's the number one job of a brokerage, and help their agents be better agents, right? So if you think about that for a second, do I need to give agents CRM? Or do we need to build an incredible product that lets us do our job and let them be compliant in the transactions that they're closing, right? So at some point, we had to make a decision on where are we investing. For our model, our efficiency is required. We have to invest on the left side of the equation here. CRM is also a personal thing. It's an extremely personal thing. So if you talk to agents, if you randomly pick 20 agents, you're going to hear 5 different CRM names. And they've invested their life into building these databases. They're not moving to your CRM, no matter what you do. And that there's a sense of, reluctance too, in all honesty, right? Like agents always think about what happens if I leave this brokerage? And that's their number one KPI, like thinking style, right? Like you don't want to like go all in on a CRM, put all your contacts and everything in there, and then you decide to leave the brokerage. Now you have to export everything out. If the brokerage is nice, they'll let you export everything out. If they're not nice, you're scraping, or I don't know what you have to do, right? So I think it's a combination of all those, but mostly I believe it's a matter of taste, and it's a battle you can't win, because no matter what you do, there's a feature that they like in some old CRM that they used to use, and you don't have it,
Right.
and all they do is complain about that, right?
I'm reminded of compete where you can win, which is something I've talked about in my presentation. So that's what I'm hearing. Right?
Exactly.
You can't win in the CRM space.
I don't think we can win. Same thing for property searches. Like building a consumer experience and saying we're going to build something that Zillow's done for like 10 years. No. Can we build a great property search? We can. But are people going to use your property search? No. They're going to use Zillow and Trulia.
Yeah.
And Redfin and like Realtor.com. These are brands. People are used to this stuff. Change of behavior is nearly impossible.
Yeah. Let's shift gears to AI a little bit. We've chatted about that before. I mean, in general, AI, Chat GPT in real estate, is that kind of the hype train, or is this the future of everything?
I think it's in the middle somewhere. So there's definitely hype to this. How can a brokerage, because we're a brokerage, how can a brokerage realistically use AI? There are a couple ways, right? One is you can use the standard idea, which is build me a listing presentation. But honestly, like you've not built any value. All you're doing is building a proxy into ChatGPT, right? You're taking the question, you're maybe prompting better, right? And sending it to ChatGPT and it comes back. And you show what comes back, right? A lot of brokerages are doing that. With us, the dividends are paying now, and that's what I was saying, the exponential growth. The next 2.5 years is probably the most exciting 2.5 years we're going to have. And maybe 2.5 years after that, maybe more exciting. But the exponential growth is now because we've invested so much in building our infrastructure, transaction management. We even like got rid of SkySlope and we built all that in-house, right? So we have complete control over all compliance documents. We have complete control over all your math, your taxation, your accounting, your communication. When you talk to our brokers, you go through our internal systems. We have complete control over our Academy, Real Academy, which is another agent learning tool. Complete control over Real Signature, which is our signature product. All of this data is now available. And we pour that into a custom GPT solution. So you can ask questions like, what happened to my deal? That's an incredible question. Like if you think about it, like which deal? But we figured out how to answer that question. Or you can say, what's up with 123 Main Street? What's up with 123 Main Street? That's what people are asking, by the way. I'm not coming up with this stuff. Like we see these questions and we laugh about it because like they're talking to it as if it's a person. So agents like, you'll be surprised how people end up using your product. When you conceive it, you don't think about it that way.
Are you surprised at how agents are using your product?
I'm surprised on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like daily basis, we see stuff. The other day we saw an agent ask Leo 1031 exchanges.
Really?
Yeah.
And Leo is Real's AI assistant that you released, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Yeah, we released our first version, I think nearly 3 months ago now.
Okay.
And we're hitting 75% accuracy on it. Our goal was 90. I think we can hit 90% by October, middle of October. And we're releasing version 2, which is going to be huge because it's going to be like the next leap for it, which we'll announce soon. So that'll be another exciting thing.
So right now it's an assistant. It's an AI assistant kind of sitting on top of Real's proprietary data set and knowledge, and somebody can ask it questions and chat with it.
Yeah.
And in the future, more is going to happen.
Yeah, like
And
something amazing.
something
But
amazing.
but today, what you can do today, it's already cool. By the way, like you can say, "Where's my money?" For example, and it will say, if there's only one transaction, it will just answer the question. It will be like, "Hey, your money is being processed. We sent it yesterday. You should have it in your bank in 2 days." Right? That's the English answer you get. If you have multiple transactions, it's contextually aware. So it'll be like, which transaction are you talking about? And the prompt changes to like show nicely displayed transactions, and you get to pick a transaction. And then it continues on, right? So we've built, it's not just a chat thing. I think it's all about the experience.
Mm,
So the experience is very different than the chat GPT experience that everybody's used to. It's very interactive in many ways. Like if you say, teach me about 1031s, it
mm,
will actually show you real academy videos
mm.
inside the experience, right?
Is there staying power to this chatbot? Or agents kind of coming back and interacting with it?
Oh, absolutely. We're
Yeah.
getting significant, like this is the best feature we've ever launched and best feature that has ever been adopted.
Best in terms of adoption?
In adoption, yes. It's more successful than we thought it would be. And the recurring usage is surprising, more surprising than I actually thought it would be. Because I was worried when we were launching it, I was worried there's like this hype cycle, like we talked about.
Mm,
And you don't know how successful it's going to be because when you put it out in the market, people ask random questions. And we know what our hit rate was going to be. But we have a team of dedicated people who are literally going through every question on a daily basis, optimizing our responses.
oh, yeah.
That's the reason we know we can get to 90% because we are seeing the questions we're missing.
Do you think this is going to be a key differentiator for Real going forward?
100%. This is the house. Like this is literally all in because we already have plans on our, like I mentioned, internal communication, right? So an agent can come in and talk to our transactions team, our brokers, our finance teams, our support teams through our app. Leo can answer most of these questions now, right? So soon we'll turn that on and Leo's going to be able to answer all these questions. So we're trimming the efficiency even further when it comes to like having to check. Imagine like what's happening to other brokerages where someone is like, hey, what's my pending standard question asked? What do I need to do to close this deal? Is probably the most frequently asked question in brokerages,
Really?
right? And what happens? The broker gets to it when it gets to it, when he gets or she gets to it, right? They go through a list checklist. They look at like the pending checklist items and they tell you what's pending.
Hmm.
But they're going through a UI that you're providing them. It's not like they're not making things up. Yes, there are cases where they have to review your documents and tell you something meaningful, right? But in most cases, it's like right there, it's just the interface sucks or the realtor is too busy, or it could be any variation in the middle where they just want an answer, right? So we should be able to get that. We should be able to answer all those questions out of the gate.
Yeah. And it sounds like you are.
Yeah.
You're starting.
We're definitely starting, and I think we'll get there.
Okay.
And then Leo is going to show up everywhere. Anything we do. So our consumer play is going to be there.
Hmm.
And it's just like this thing that's just going to be present.
Okay.
Nowhere you go, everywhere you go.
So, Pritesh, if you think about the past year, lots happened.
Mhm.
What's been the biggest challenge you faced?
Canada. We
You
launched.
didn't even pause.
Ca-
Canada.
Absolutely. It was the thing is like we had made promises to launch in Canada, but the software was barely working in the United States.
Yeah.
But the business, when it's growing, you got to go, right? Because you can't miss the boat. So we launched in Canada, and we, frankly, like weren't prepared enough. I had to learn a lot on how Canadian businesses, like how the Canadian transaction works, and there were like some amazing agents that helped us figure some of things out. Taxation in Canada is incredibly complex when it comes to provinces, and within provinces there are like sub provinces that do special stuff. But we're on top of it now, and we've automated most of Canadian processes as well. But there's always something more to do. There's always something more to automate. As we grow as a company from 12,000 to whatever next number is the milestone, we will continue to focus on our efficiency because that's the value to the agent in many ways, right? If we change our fee structure, it comes out of someone else's pocket. We would rather just invest our money in keeping the efficiency where it is. But it was definitely Canada was the hardest thing.
Okay. My guest last time, Jason, he's the COO at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Drysdale. He has this phrase I liked, this play areas, right? The sandbox, what he's playing with right now. I like that. So what are some play areas, aside from AI, that you're in?
The biggest play area that I was working on for a year
Mm.
we're announcing it next month. So I can't tell you,
All right.
but it was like a huge play area. I think AI has been our big play area, and we were quick to jump on it because we saw the opportunity and the possibilities right there. And our team is amazing. Like we actually have like incredible experts. They joined Real through my network, and like I convinced them to join and said like there was an opportunity to build greenfield stuff. Greenfield is super exciting for amazing engineers and product people because they get to build from scratch and bring something to life that didn't exist. Very rarely you get to do that, especially in a startup that's exploding in growth, right? So I convinced a bunch of people who are super, super talented, and they joined us, and they were all there at the right time. And so, AI plus one more thing that's super expensive. But the other thing is also the consumer app, like not to forget. I know you're not a big fan of like consumer apps because you've seen there's so many dead bodies in this graveyard, right? But we're launching that, and that's publicly known information. Like we're launching that next month, and it's a straight up Rocket Mortgage competitor in many ways. So, of course it's version 1. So let me downplay this a little bit. So it's version 1. It's going to be super clean, super sexy app, right? And the desktop app. But of course, it's going to go through the same thing we did with our brokerage. It's going to get better over time, and it's going to have like a whole story. The holy grail is like, an agent needs someone pre-approved. They come into the ecosystem, they download our app, and we walk them through the home purchase. Along with the agent is still in the center of this transaction. The agent is kept up to date with everything that happens, and we close out the consumer on the purchase process, right? And I understand like not 100% of the agents are going to do this. We need small percentages for this to work. I mean, we're closing so many transactions right now, and it's going to keep growing. We don't need everybody. We just need a few, and it will beat the brokerage, right? In terms of revenues, right?
Yeah. Okay. No, so the consumer app's coming out soon as well, and we'll see what's going on there. Okay. Let me ask you this. I write a lot and say a lot and put a lot of research out there. Is there anything I've said or presented that you disagree with?
Well, I think sometimes we know some data is like off, but we also know that you don't have visibility into that data. So internally, we sometimes debate about some data could be presented differently, but it's not wrong. It's just like how that data is looked at. And it's just, I don't have a specific example, but I do remember a few instances where a few data points were interpreted differently. But it doesn't really matter. I think like your research is definitely one of the most comprehensive when it comes to like looking at brokerages and real estate in general and like making meaningful sense out of it, because there's so much signal to noise on this, like in this industry. But your analysis on everybody's earnings is amazing.
Well, if you want to share more information, you just send it on over. I'll take a look at it. I'm sure your IR people will be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
So I guess last question I have for you as we kind of wrap this up. Again, if you think about the past year, what's something you've learned?
I think something we've learned is that it's still a young brokerage, right? The business has existed for nine years or something, right? Like, but there's like Real 2.0, which started when the model changed, which was, I think, early 2020, March 2020 from memory. I wasn't even part of Real at that time. I got involved in January 2021. So when they had successfully changed the model, gotten some traction and some cash to acquire my company and everything else, right? So I think that's a new life for Real. And if you take the new life for Real and you see the growth, right, it's hard to keep up with this kind of growth and the ever-growing needs of the agent. But what I've been surprised by is that we disappoint people on a daily basis. Like my job is one of those jobs where very rarely you get a compliment. People call you only when something is going wrong, because that's technology. Like, who calls people when like something works? Like it's rare. I do get those calls too, but rare. Like the complaint to, great scenario is against me all times, but people are incredibly kind. Like our agents I've noticed it. They don't like quit on us. They're upset. They'll call me and they'll like complain and like, be angry sometimes. I've been in situations where people are yelling at me too, but they don't leave us. They're just frustrated. It's their deal. It's their livelihood. And we do our best to like keep up with the changes and stuff like that. But it's also growing, right? Like 2.5 years ago, we had nothing. So the agents who are like more than 2.5 years ago, they realize how much we have done. But the agents who just joined us, they come for the culture, they come for the people, the network. They are sometimes maybe disappointed with what we have. but then they kind of see the velocity at which we make things and fix things, and we earn their trust.
Hmm.
Right. So that's what I've kind of learned.
What I hear out of that is resiliency. You've learned how resilient your agents are and how they're sticking with you.
Yeah. And they believe in our culture. And I think it comes from Tamir, from Sharon, from Dre, from Michelle, all our executives. I think everybody is aligned. Like they truly believe in this culture. It isn't like something we just say.
It's having a meaningful impact
Yeah.
for the whole organization.
The whole organization, like on Monday, we had a call and Tamir talked about 10 minutes about how the market is difficult and we need to be more empathetic to our agents than less, right? Because the market is hard now and it's probably going to get harder before it gets better.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough 6 or 9 months here.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts you want to leave the listeners with, like a way to contact you or a website to go to or kind of other ask of the audience?
Well, no, I think thanks for listening and joinreal.com.
Well, that's the website, joinreal.com, right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Sweet. And any engineers out there, I mean, I think you painted a great picture of no recurring meetings. So are you hiring?
Yeah, we are hiring like crazy. We are extremely selective. What does that mean? That means that if you get in, you will never leave. You're surrounded by people who are incredibly talented. So if you like to learn stuff, this is paradise. It's a small team with incredible talent around you. And everybody is mission driven.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks. Thanks, Pritesh.
Thank you.
I'm Mike Del Prete. This has been Context. We've got more podcasts up and more coming. You can check out more of my research on my website, mikedp.com, mikedp.com, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.